Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and I went to Tankfest just 3 weeks ago. It was absolutely incredible. I met hundreds and hundreds of you guys, my epic community. I've got so much video footage that I'm going to be splitting it up into 3 videos. One is going to be about the inside of the museum, which you're going to see here. Then I'm going to have one on the live tank demonstrations that were outside. And finally, I'm going to have a vlog of where me, Ike, Maverick, and Peppity were staying. So without further ado, I hope that you enjoy the tanks. And when you enter the museum, you're greeted by a sleek tiger tick. So now we're looking at the Yak Tiger. This is armed with fearsome 128mm. It's amazing, imposing size. It's simply incredible. And we can get up behind it now, and we can take a look on the inside of the engine deck. So when you're landing your artillery shells, you could either straight in there, straight in there, straight in there. That's where you want to aim, scumbags. 26 punching on my face. You get a Yak Panther. I've seen one of these for the first time in the Imperial War Museum, but there's a very impressive Yak Panther here as well. Sporting the 88mm, a very fearsome weapon. So now we've got the upgraded Tiger 2, I believe with the Henschel turret, whereas the poor bastard over there, as we saw, with the turret designed by Ferdinand, isn't quite as well armoured, which is why this one was chosen and basically came into effect just shortly after D-Day, I believe. So now we're looking at the M24 Chappie. This one is named Trigger Happy. So when you're sitting in a bush, don't be trigger happy, you're just going to give away your position to the enemy. This really does look like a toy tank, even when you look at it in real life, when you put it next to behemoths such as the Yak Tiger.
Good day, comrades. This is the tank that I really wanted to get in World of Tanks, and I got it. This is P1 Russian heavy tank, and very large crew, but very effective. It was one of the tanks that stopped Germans from invading Soviet Union.
What does it say on the side of the turret for everyone at home?
For Leningrad, Leningradские женщины, it doesn't make sense at all, to be honest. It's like for Leningrad, for Leningradian women, but it doesn't, it's not written correctly. Yeah, this is it.
So here is the first ever real tank, Little Willie 1915. The key thing that it's talking about here is that apparently the nightmare for them was to actually get the tracks to be able to interlink. So the main thing that they had is apparently they had flanges on them like little wings which actually stopped the tracks from dropping off when the vehicle crossed the trench. And it was this development that made the British tanks so successful initially. So now we're looking at the Mark II. This is an evolution over what was the first tank, Little Willie, so to say. And this tank was fantastic at traversing over trenches. We've seen a small video of a miniature version of this that we can put in for you in just a second.
He is the leading historian of armoured warfare. 42 books.
Now we're looking at a French tank, Charlie 1. Weak point, driver's hatch on the front, easy kill. So now we're looking at an 813 Cruiser Mark III, which was the fastest tank in 1940. Hey, what's up?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Ed.
Nice to meet you, Ed.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect to. Well, I knew you'd be here, but I didn't think I'd bump into you because it's packed, isn't it? There's so many people about.
I met like probably about a couple of hundred people.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Everyone's lovely and awesome.
Yeah, I've seen so many people walking around in Wargaming and World of Tanks t-shirts. I thought loads and loads of fans about.
For sure. Hey, so now we're looking at the Panther. This is one of your favourite vehicles, i.e. World of Tanks community. A vehicle that a lot of you probably got into the game for. This one's got a 75mm on it, and you can see an example of the AP shells that we were firing right down here. The blurb there is saying that the penetration on the Panther was better than the penetration on the 88mm on the Tiger, so that shows you this thing could pack quite a punch and is very underrated sometimes compared to for example, the Tiger. So, I believe the Tank Museum are actually taking the mick out of all of you. Here we have the M3 Lee, probably one of the best tier 4 tanks in the game. And then right next to it, we have the Matilda. And I say one of the best tier 4 tanks in the game. Now we have one of the true great tier 4 tanks in the game, in the Matilda. I think it's very ironic that they would put the Matilda next to the Lee. So now we're looking at the Leopard 1. This came into service in 1963, and it was so good that it's still in service today. So this is the Chieftain. It was introduced in 1966, and it was really the world's first main battle tank, with a fearsome 120mm cannon. This is the Challenger 2. It was introduced into service in 1994 with a fearsome 120mm, and it's still in service today in the British Army. So this is the 120mm armour-piercing, fin-stabilised, discarding Sabot round. Take a look, it looks like a dart. This travels at the enemy tank over 3,000 miles per hour. And the sheer force behind the round and its hardness enable it to smash through practically any armour. So now we're looking at the M48 pattern. This was introduced in 1953 and it's still in service today. This one specifically is using the 90mm, of which you can see an example of the shell here, just an AP round that would come from this 90mm cannon. This is the Sherman Firefly. It's a combination of a Sherman fitted with a British 17-pounder gun. This might be the next Tier 6 American premium medium tank, but what you really need to know is when this was introduced in 1944, it became the only tank that was really truly capable of going through the Panther and the armour of the Tiger. So now we're looking at the Cromwell. This was introduced in 1942. It was one of the most widely produced cruiser type tanks with a fearsome 75mm gun. So now we're looking at the Centurion. This one was equipped with a 17-pounder and it was rushed to Germany in 1945, but it did not quite see combat. This is the Churchill Crocodile. It's a Churchill modified to carry a flamethrower as well, which would be quite a serious threat, or at least fear, instilled in the enemy. So you ever wanted to step inside a tank, or at least see inside a tank that has been cut in half, then look no further. This is a Centurion Mark III that was produced in 1946/1947 and since has been dissected to allow us a very good look inside the vehicle. So as we can see, you don't want to be a very big guy inside a tank. You're going to have a very hard time if you are. So now we're looking at the Tier 9 British tank destroyer, the Tortoise. Take a look at this absolutely fearsome machine. Two were built, never entered service, 225mm frontal armour, and this one I believe has a 94mm cannon attached to it. So now we're looking at the Challenger 1. This was introduced in 1983 and it lasted until 1992 when the Challenger 2 was introduced. This has an armament of 120mm, an absolutely fearsome tank, and this also named as MBT 80, which is, I guess, stands for Medium Battle Tank 80. very impressive vehicle, capable of travelling at 56 kilometers an hour and providing the punch where needed, with impressive armour capabilities. Now we're looking at a French tank. This is the AMX-13. This one is mounted with a 75mm cannon. The tank was designed for crew members of no taller than 5'8". You could not be taller than 5'8" to be inside this tank. So it's an autoloader that was capable of firing 2 sets of a 6-round magazine. And when these rounds had been expended, then the tank would have to leave the battlefield to recharge. Looking at the FV4101, and this tank resulted from the fact that there were a lot of Cromwells that were left over from World War II. So what happened here is they added the 83.4mm cannon to the Cromwell to basically have a very mobile tank with a rather meaty gun that could have the same pack, or pack the same punch as a Centurion. So we're really lucky to be in here today. This part of the museum wasn't here when I was at Tankfest in 2012. And I don't believe that this is open the whole time. Got some serious rarities. We're going to be going looking at, shortly, the only remaining FV4202, which is behind that behemoth, which I believe is an FV4004. More to come. Like you're on video, what do you have to say about the McDonald's tank?
As you can see, the T-14 did exist and were mass-produced to defeat the Canadians during the Toronto Wars. As we have covered already, the wait timer on it is 3 minutes into the game, as well as its fame for being able to take down at least the main tank and 2 of your healers during the raid.
Now we're looking at it. This is a Tier 6 assault Sherman. So this is the FV4202, this is the Tier 10 British medium tank. I believe this is the only remaining one that we have. This was a test bed for a whole series of new developments that they were bringing to what was the medium battle tank. Absolute behemoth is combined with the hull Centurion with the 120mm that would eventually be on the Conqueror. And they were struggling to be able to fit it on the medium. Well, they needed to have 120mm to deal with the IS-3s that were developed against the Soviets. This absolute behemoth was what they rushed out before the Conqueror was developed to try and deal with the threat of the IS-3. So now we're looking at one of the best Tier 9 medium tanks in the game. This is the T-54, and it's such an impressive vehicle to look at. Makes you realise Soviet medium tanks definitely overpowered. So I'm at Tankfest and I've met the ultimate Warlord Warrior, Val Cornet. You played what, 18,000 games? Around there. In guess what? In Type 59. There we go. Ultimate Warlord Warrior. Brilliant. Nice one. So the Wargaming booth at Tankfest 2014 was absolutely fantastic, massively better than the previous years. You can see the truck, the gaming truck that they had behind us here, which had tons of super high performance PCs with crazy accounts that I'm going to show you now. So as you can see, Wargaming have got fantastic tanks such as the Gross Tractor that you can this isn't available. I'm not sure how you would actually manage to get your hands on this. I'll have to look it up. But look at the Wargaming accounts, let me zoom in there. If you want to have all of the skills in World of Tanks, then you've got to come to one of these events. Look at that, 9 skills. It's got mental, repairs, firefighting, recon, jacket of strange, eagle eye, camouflage, sixth sense, and runs and arms. What's the aim time like on this gun? Look at the stats on this gun. 75mm. Horrible accuracy. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I think we're dead.
I might do that once I finish the line, I just show
Alright, I didn't think I really looked at this tank enough. I've been defeated, that's it, I'm terrible at World of Tanks. I officially quit World of Tanks now. I'm only joking. So I've got videos coming up of the live tank performances that were outside, so stay tuned for those videos. If you've enjoyed this one, please do consider rating this video down below, it will really help the channel out. And let me know your comments about maybe seeing the tanks that you play with in real life for the first time. What do you guys think of all these monstrous vehicles? So anyway, as always... So now I'm going to be showing you some of the awesome photos that I had with you guys, my epic community. I literally met about 500 of you lovely ladies and gentlemen. It was such an amazing experience, and I can't wait to get to more events now that I have finished my PhD. Meet more of you guys and try and just give you as much as I can. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me, and it keeps me doing what I love, which is making content for you guys.